Welcome, my friends and fellow enthusiasts. This is the Fan and GM once again revisiting space opera, uh, Fantasy Games Unlimited's 1970, circa 1979, 1980s sci-fi game system. This is StarSector Atlas 12, the Korellian Empire. The we're running down on my fairly thin collection of space opera. There are a number of other books out there, and as I said, Glenn Price is creating. He's working on getting Star Sector 9. It's in edit or pending edit, so there is some small renaissance in this game system where somebody is at least trying to fill in the gaps of missing material. There's some other modules out there. Once I purchased the ones I did, as I purchased them, they become less and less enthusiastic about purchasing the modules because I didn't think that they added a whole lot to the core book itself. The atlases are a little different because this is the world setting that they created for the space opera. Now, space opera itself is, like I've said before, it doesn't need this world. You can more or less superimpose any world you want to create sci-fi wise using those two core books. I was thinking that last night when I was going through my Netflix and I ran across Buck Rogers from the late '70s, and I thought, geez, I haven't seen that show since I was a kid, and so I've got it on my Netflix queue to see, and DVD, of course. The fact that the TSR did come out with a Buck Rogers game system, I completely forgot that it existed. So this set of rules would have allowed me to create my own version of it. Anyway, the Korellian Empire. One of the things that you can't, in my eyes, when I went back and reread the material here, it's hard for me not to immediately come to the conclusion that there's a lot of similarities between the Korells and the Klingons. Even to some degree, the artwork is slightly reminiscent of the Star Trek race, which, I don't know, it's not outright plagiarism, but it's clear that they get a lot of their ideas from other sources. Let's see what I'm trying to picture of. Yeah, here. There's a picture of the Korellian emperor and one of his servants. I mean, even their dress is somewhat slightly. The only thing they don't have is they don't have the head ridges. The Korells are an aggressive species, like the Klingons. War is quite a acceptable practice for both policy and response. Like the Klingons, we have their history, their pre-imperial history, expansion and conflict. A lot of good backstory on these folks. These are an alien race that eventually encounters humans. This particular Star Atlas goes hand in hand with the previous one, Star Atlas 11, the CSA, because these are the folks that are stepping on the humans in that sector and trying to keep control of them. We got the emperors, the prefects, council of elders, their various ministries, clan organizations, religious calendar, Korellian telepathy, Korellian physiology, their military breakdown, rankings, unit organization. They're definitely military-based operations. They lend themselves to some tabletop wargaming. You could easily utilize the information in here to create a good tabletop game for large-scale combat. Then we get into the star sector that's around their capital, their homeworld, and these various worlds that they control or have colonized. This, of course, is just a sampling of what's there. The implication, of course, is, and it's in this and all of them, this is just the example of one star sector, and they probably control a dozen or better, and that's the additional information is always left up to the Star Master to create and design and fill in the blanks. So the game material here is not too different than any of the other material, other than the few times that I used Corels in games that I was playing back in the youth. I treated them like Klingons because, for all intents and purposes, like I said, to me, short of not having the head ridges and stuff, they're presented just like a Klingon, which is helpful and sometimes not, depending on how you want to look at it. So there you go. It's a small last edition, and I hope you enjoyed my visitation and my newer way of setting this stuff up. Gives you a little bit more than watching my nose hair grow. And thank you, and we'll move on to the next thing.